Hello and welcome to today's Hindu newspaper analysis of the Delhi edition from the editorial section. Okay, let's get start from top article. Shut down this misguided energy policy. The vulnerabilities of reactors and their high cost are a strong reason why India must cancel its nuclear expansion plans. Okay, what is crux of this article and why it is important to us? Okay, for GS point of view as well as essay point of view. Okay, and also interview. Nuclear technology is hazardous. Okay, world was reminded of this on March 3 when a fire broke out near the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant in Ukraine, Europe's largest nuclear plant. This during the course of a military battle, had the fire affected the cooling system, the plant power supply, or its spent fuel full. Okay, a major disaster could have occurred. Okay, luckily this did not happen. Even years ago, the people of Japan were not as fortunate. On March 11, 2011, multiple reactors at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant suffered severe accidents after an earthquake and a tsunami. Those reactors were quickly shut down following the earthquake, but their radioactive course continued, producing heat eventually melted down because the tsunami knocked out the cooling system. The aftershocks of the Fukushima disaster were felt beyond Japan and led to a slump in nuclear energy in most of the world. Yet, some policymakers insist on expanding nuclear power intensively in response to climate change concerns. On December 15, 2021, the Indian government informed Parliament that it plans to build 10 indigenous reactors in fleet mode and had granted in principle approval for 28 additional reactors, including 24 to be imported from France, the US and Russia, given the post-Fukushima global and national trends in the nuclear industry. Such a policy seems misguided. Nuclear power is neither an economical source of electricity nor a viable route to meeting India's climate goals. Nuclear power plants are capital intensive and recent nuclear builds have suffered major cost overruns. An illustrative example is this. BC Summer nuclear plant is in South Carolina, USA. Their cost rose so sharply that the project was abandoned after an expenditure of over $9 million. In contrast, renewable energy technologies have become cheaper. The Wall Street company Lazard estimated that the cost of electricity from solar photovoltaics and wind turbines in the US declined by 90% and 72% respectively between 2009 and 2021. In 2002, the International Energy Agency dubbed solar energy the new king of electricity. This context has esteemed plans for expanding nuclear power. In 2008, the US government projected an expansion of nuclear capacity to 114.9 gigawatts by 2030. In 2021, it predicted that capacity would contract to 83.3 gigawatts. This mirrors a global trend. In 1996, 17.5% of the world electricity came from nuclear power plants. By 2020, this figure declined to just around 10%. India has also had to drastically cut its nuclear ambitions after Fukushima. In 2008, the chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission, Anil Kakodhar, projected that India would have 650 gigawatt of installed capacity by 2050. His successor Sri Kumar Banerjee predicted in 2010 that capacity would reach 35 gigawatt by 2020. Installed capacity is today 6.78. Okay, installed capacity is today 6.78 gigawatt. Unviable imports. Such targets were based on the expectation that India would import many light water reactors after the India-US civil nuclear deal. But the deal has not led to the establishment of a single nuclear power plant over 13 years after it was concluded. The worrying part of the government's recent parliamentary submission is that these plans for imports have not been cancelled as is widely believed and still remain on the books. बिल्कुल ठीक है. Of the 24 foreign reactors with in principal approval, 6 of are the BBER, also known as water energy reactor, design that has had multiple operational problems at Kundankulam projects in Tamil Nadu. The cumulative load factors for the Kundankulam first and 2 reactors in 2020 were just 53% and 52% respectively. Okay, respectively. 12 reactors are proposed to be imported from the US, including at least 6 AP1000 reactors. The same design that was abandoned in South Carolina, elsewhere in the US. The Bogtal project comprising 2 AP1000 reactors has escalated from an initial estimated of $14 billion to over $30 billion. The remaining 6 are of the EPR design that France has been unable to successfully complete in its home country. The single EPR plant being constructed in Flamanville in France is a place. Flamanville is a place in France is now estimated to cost $12.4 billion, 4 times what was forecast when construction started in 2007. Be estimated in 2013 that had the 6 planned EPRs at Jaipur in Maharashtra been constructed on the schedule. Electricity from these reactors would cost at least rupees 15%, excluding transmission cost. Given recent cost escalation, this is most likely an underestimated. The figures from Bogtal suggest that the proposed AP1000 reactors would produce power that would similarly be costly. Compare that figure with recent low bids of rupees 2.414% unit for solar power and rupees 2.34 for solar wind hybrid projects. Even in projects coupled with the storage, bids are around rupees 4.30 per unit. If nuclear electricity is to be sold at a competitive rate, it would have to be greatly subsidized by the Indian government, which operates all nuclear plants through the Nuclear Power Corporation of India. Understanding the risk. खतरे को समझिए. Safety concerns following the Fukushima accident have led to protest against each plant reactor. Vijay Rupani, the Chief Minister of Gujarat, admitted in the State Assembly in March 2018 that locals turned against the Mithivirdi nuclear project after the Fukushima disaster. Contrary to the consenting opinion held by some nuclear critics, people's concerns are not based on an irrational fear of nuclear energy. In a densely populated country such as India, land is at a premium and emergency healthcare is far from uniformly available. Local citizens understand that a nuclear disaster might have large sources of land and uninhabitable areas, as Chernobyl first, or require a prohibitively expensive cleanup as in Fukushima, where the final cost may eventually exceed $600 billion. Concerns about safety being accentuated by the insistence of multinational nuclear supplies that they be identified of liability for the consequences of any accident in India. Under pressure from multinational manufacturers, India's liability law already largely protects them. But the industry objects to a small window of opportunity available for the Indian government to hold them to account. The message to local citizens is simple. Manufacturers do not really believe in their own claims about how safe their reactors are. If they did, they should have been willing to accept responsibility for any failure rather than insisting in special and legal arrangements not available to any other industry. Climate concerns. What are climate concerns from here? Climate change will increase the risk of nuclear reactor accidents. The day after the fire at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, a wildlife approached the Hanul nuclear plant in South Korea, and President Moon Jae-in ordered all-out efforts to avoid an accident at the reactors there. In 2020, a wind storm caused the Donway Arnold nuclear plant in the USA to cease operations. The frequency of such extreme weather events is likely to increase in the future. Therefore, nuclear power is not the right choice to adopt to climate change, which requires resilience in power system. It is also not the appropriate choice for mitigating India's carbon emissions, since it cannot be deployed at the necessary scale. The resources spent on nuclear plants will yield quicker results if they are redirected to renewables. Given the inherent vulnerability of nuclear reactors, and their high costs, it would be best for the government to unambiguously cancel its plans for a nuclear expansion. The Aam Aadmi Party gale wind that swept through Punjab. The scale of its victory is reflective of the hope that it could be the right party to solve the state's burning issues. The 16th Assembly election in Punjab in 2022 is a watershed election for the state, also marking a political deviation from the past. The most notable feature is the verdict itself, a landslide after a long time. A certain percentage of Punjab voters has always voted for three parties, that is Bharatiya Janata Party, and Bharatiya Jansangh. The Indian National Congress, and the Akali Dal. The average vote in the past 5 assembly elections for the Congress and the Akali Dal BJP alliances respectively has been 36.94% and 39.65%. But in this election, electoral bipolarity, a feature of the political system in the state till 2017 elections, seems to have transitioned to a 4-party system. Even the BJP in 4th place in this election with 2 seats is most likely to chart its own course. It has never gained from alliances, especially with the Akali Dal 1997 to 2020, winning openly a 6.9% vote share in the last 5 assembly elections. In the case of the smaller parties, they have never fared well while contesting on their own, nor have they been of much help to their allies. The Bahujan Samaj Party, with one seat this time, has had a 4.33% vote share in the last 5 assembly elections. The Congress gamble. The second notable feature has been the dismal failure of the Congress gamble to line up behind the leadership of Charan Singh. Charan Singh Channi after the ouster of Captain Amrinder Singh. Ouster of Captain Amrinder Singh in the face of the stiff opposition from Navjot Singh Sidhu. President Punjab Pradesh Congress Committee. It was a desperate but bold move by the party high command which sensed a sentiment of anti-incumbency and was also aware of this intense internal railings within the Punjab Congress. In choosing Mr. Channi, a Dalit Sikh, the party defied in a way the age-old asymmetrical social basis of political power in the state that has been in favor of the numerically strong. Landowning, Jat Sikhs, most of the state's chief minister have been from the community since the formation of Sikh majority Punjabi Suba. The Congress leadership might have factored in that Dalits, who constitute 31.94% of the seats population, would help it win. Dalits constitute more than 30% of the population in 55 out of 117, 34 reserved assembly constituencies in the state. But even here, religious and caste divides among Dalits were an obstacle in the way of massive voting in favor of Mr. Channi. Interestingly, other parties such as Akali Dal, which promised a Dalit deputy chief minister, were also looking at the Dalit vote. Rural Sikh votes also remained elusive for the Congress, mainly because of the party's failure to bring relief to farmers. These voters did not go to the Akali Dal earlier either. Aam Aadmi Party may have gained votes as its government in Delhi was seen to help protesting farmers at the Delhi border, Delhi border, when they were demanding a rollback of the farmers' law. The Congress second strategy, that is the blame the leadership of the Captain Amrinder Singh for misgovernment or non-performance did not find any takers. Even though there was an attempt to portray the government under Mr. Channi to be a new one. Public perception was that it was essentially the same old party government. Moreover, the Channi government had hardly any time before the election to show results for three crucial issues that haunt the state: drug, sacrilege and sand, transport, cable mafia. The Channi government made tall promises. And big announcement. The Channi government also spent much of its time and energy dealing with inner party challenges and accusations leveled against it by its our party leaders, Navjot Singh Sidhu included also in it, striking a chord. Aam Aadmi Party stunting victory. 92 out of 117 seats. Is reminiscent of its victory in the Delhi elections in 2015. The share scale of its victory in terms of seats and vote shares 42%. So its widespread supports across caste and communities. There are 39 constituencies in the state where Hindu voters constitute more than 50% of the electorate and Aam Aadmi Party has won most of them. So it is not only rural Sikhs who have extended their support to Aam Aadmi Party. Okay, how does one make sense of the landslide? The first factor has been huge anti-incumbency against the Congress and the Akali Dal, the two parties that have shared power at various times in the state over 25 years. This has been the period that saw a shift in the political narrative from ethno-religious issues to better governance and development. Ironically, though, the state has seen a declaration in terms of economic growth. The first green revolution has run its course, while the promise of a second one remains on paper. There have been frequent failures of cash crops in the state, leading to immense distress for farmers. The Akali Dal, the self-proclaimed farmers' party, has been unable to find satisfactory solutions. There are only 20 urban constituencies. The rest are overwhelmingly rural. This explains the importance of farmers and the issues related to them in the state. Core issues in the state. What are core issues in the state during the election times? Small and medium scale industries that once flourished in Ludhiana and Jalandhar have relocated to power surplus and better governed neighboring states such as Himachal Pradesh. The farm sector crisis in what is essentially a one sector economy that has resulted in massive unemployment. There is also a social crisis. This synthetic drugs running the youth, especially in Punjab state of country. Okay, there have been serious allegations about the complicity of politicians in the sand, transport, cable mafia, liquor and drug mafias. While parties that have come to power have all promised a cleaning, in reality the situation has only worsened. The formed state police force, which took on militancy, is compromised and politicized. Punjab today is a pale shadow of its former self. But it was once considered to be the model state in terms of governance and progress, especially during the Pratap Singh Karon days. Okay, all these developments have also led to youth losing faith in the future of the state. There is a huge rush among youth to mitigate overfees, with many taking huge risks. A failing education system is also making many unemployment when it comes to white-collar jobs. Therefore, these burning social and economic issues may have also influenced women voters and the youth to consider voting for the Aam Aadmi Party this time. When voters have outnumbered male voters in these, and even the last assembly elections, pitching the Delhi model. What is Delhi model? All you know, compulsory. However, the massive scale of Aam Aadmi Party victory, while a reflection of the anger and the dissatisfaction with the Congress and the Akali Dal, might be more a yearning for change and hope that the Aam Aadmi Party leadership would be the right party to cleanse the system. A promise it has made since the 2014 Lok Sabha elections. This was also a party marketing its Delhi model with a promise of reforms in the health and education sectors, in turn possibly making in the clinical voter take note. Aam Aadmi Party made course corrections after its blunders in the 2017 elections, such as the bringing outsiders from Delhi for leadership roles. This time, the party not only projected Bhagwant Mann, a two-time Lok Sabha member, and a Jat Sikh as its chief minister candidate, but also kept its distance from the Punjabi Sikh diaspora. Okay, subjected to a radical by a segment of voters. Also, Aam Aadmi Party leader Arvind Kejriwal seems to have borne acceptability as a leader in command in the Punjabi Suba, unlike the last time. Okay, so these are two most important articles. ठीक, these are two most important articles which is relevant for your examinations point of view. What are small articles? Mood for change. Aam Aadmi Party will require more than just a reliance on populism to succeed in governance. When an electorate is tired of the ruling parties both at the center and the state level during an assembly election, even these parties are opponents. The chances that people will vote for a fresh alternatives are high. But this does not always happen in Indian elections. Parties professing to be an alternative to the established once takes time to emerge, even if they are the product of social or political movements at that time. Electoral success is achieved only if they cross a high threshold of competitiveness that is made possible through messaging and organization besides people's earning for change. The Aam Aadmi Party a spectacular trip in Punjab, winning 92 out of 117 constituencies, need to be tempered with the fact that it won 42% of the votes. What was largely a triangular contest with the Congress 23% and Shiromani Akali Dal 22%. In 2017, Aam Aadmi Party won 20 seats with a 23.7% votes, but its victories were largely concentrated in the southern Malwa region. This time in 2022, its vote share 47.2% was the highest in Malwa. It also managed a credible 30.2% and 36.8% in the Doab and Majha regions respectively, helping it shoot with the state. Of the three major losing parties, including the BJP, the Congress looked to be the best place a year ago. A strongly mobilized opposition to the BJP government Farms Law had caused the BJP-side alliances to break up. While the Captain Amarinder Singh-led Congress government had not fully lived up to expectations, the party had little to lose from the agitations and could have capitalized on the public mood by seeking to implement its promises made in 2017. But an ill-conceived move by its high command forcing out of Captain Amarinder Singh and empowering the rebel-rousing party hoping former cricketer Navjot Singh Sidhu to take over the reins of the party created unnecessary tumult. Even the party's last-minute promotion of the new Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channani was not enough to shift the mood of the electorate, which had lost patience with the party, now rivaled by the internal bickering. The electorate dissatisfaction with the center and the Congress regime in the state is evident in the CSDS, Lokniti survey. A net negative satisfaction of 44 and 52 points, respectively. With grievances and anger over the corruption under the previous side regime still fresh, Aam Aadmi Party emerged as the default alternatives. It promises of clean governance and populist measures in health, education and power supply. Already implemented in Delhi, but also to show a large section of a disenchantment electorate. But it is one thing to succeed in governance in what is largely a municipality by eschewing ideological perspectives and focusing on just populist measures. It will be challenge to effect this in an important border state such as Punjab. Aam Aadmi Party has its task cut off. Sky is wide open. The resumption of regular internal flights should help the travel and hospitality sectors. Okay, the government's decision to allow scheduled commercial international flights to resume operations from later this month will come as a big relief to the travel, tourism and hospitality sectors, which have been among the hardest hit by the pandemic. The International Air Transport Association estimates that the global aviation industry suffered about $201 billion in losses between 2020 and 2022 due to COVID-19 and the accompanying curbs on overseas and travel domestic mobility. The tourism and hospitality industry largely fills off the aviation sector for its earnings and job growth. Evident from estimates that in 2020, the year of lockdowns, India's foreign exchange earnings, from tourist arrivals from abroad, plummeted 76% from the previous year to rupees 50,136 crore. Official data show that in just the 9 months ended December 2020, 21.5 million jobs were lost in tourism. However, the decision to open up international travel has coincided with the intensification of the sanctions on Russia in the wake of invasions of Ukraine. In the wake of invasions in Ukraine, which in turn has sent oil prices soaring on fears of disruptions to global energy supply chains. The price of crude oil has jumped close to his historical peaks. As a result, aviation turbine fuel, also known as ATF, prices have also jumped by almost 60% year on year. This month, India's state-owned oil marketing companies raised aviation turbine fuel, also known as ATF, prices for the 5th time this year. And this was before the crude soared to near record high. Fuel costs typically constitute about the 1/5 of a global airline's operating expenditure, and multiple price increases is certain to hurt airlines' margins and viability. The conflict in Ukraine has also triggered a sharp jump in a wide range of commodity prices that is potentially set to quicken inflation across the globe. This is bound to seep into the cost of overseas travel as well, with travelers needing to budget more for mood and entertainment. Airlines will find it a challenge to fill seats profitably given the combination of rising cost, economic uncertainty triggered by the conflict in Eastern Europe, and the residual fearing among travelers of new variants of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Strict regulations as various parts of the world occasionally open their borders to visitors will only add to the burden of the aviation and the hospitality industries. And with the pandemic and restricted mobility having steered corporates to conduct business online effectively, setting business-related travel back to pre-pandemic level will be a tough task. Restoring visitor confidence through enforcement of COVID-19 protocols and widening vaccination coverage and all alone may not be enough. Estimates show that indirect taxes take away 21% of airlines revenue hobbling the sector, lowering ATF also known as aviation turbine fuel, prices by cutting duties is an option the government must weigh. Everything must be done to back more tourists. So these are the many articles from here. Advantage BJP even as Aam Aadmi Party stuns everyone. Not most important from here, did Modi matter more? the BJP social base of the BJP. The BJP's role, rock solid social coalition, development close to voters' hearts. Women's voters were behind BJP, massive victory. Women BJP 46% वोट किया है, okay. Men only 44%. Bhagwant Mann to take oath as Punjab CM on March 16. Akhilesh asked SP workers to prepare for 2024. Akhilesh asked SP workers to prepare for 2024. Day after BJP victory, MP holds road show. Air India staff interest protected Madras High Court. What is this? Let's see slightly from here. The Madras High Court on Friday said it was fully conceived that the center had protected the interest of the Air India employee to hilt while going for 100% disinvestment of shrinking public air carrier, which could not be revived despite pumping in over rupees 1 lakh crore of pure money, public money, and handing it cover to tackle Clegg Private Limited of the Tata Group earlier this year. Lancet death figure, faulty government. The Lancet reportedly excess mortality rates due to COVID-19 among Indians are not the highest in the world. Russia offers more oil to India. Call between Russian Deputy PM and Puri comes after US banned oil imports. Beleaguered by sanctions from the Western countries and a ban on the fuel export to United States, Russia is keen to increase its oil and petroleum products export to India. समझ रहे हो? अमेरिका ने Russian Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak conveyed to Petroleum Minister Hardeep Singh Puri on Friday. समझ गए? अमेरिका ने भारत को पेट्रोल डालना बंद कर दिया. रशिया ने कहा कि चलो मैं तुमको देता हूं, कोई टेंशन नहीं है. According to a statement issued by the Russian government, Mr. Puri spoke to Mr. Novak, who was also the former energy minister, about the possibilities of the strengthening the Indian-Russian strategic partnership in the energy sector. Russia's oil and petroleum product exports to India have approached $1 billion, and there are clear opportunities to increase this figure, said a statement issued in Moscow about the telephone call, which it said discussed current and potential joint projects in the fuel and energy industry. And the noted current projects continue to be steadily implemented. We are interested in further attracting India's investment to the Russian oil and gas sector, expanded Russian company sales networks in India. Mr. Novak said, according to the statement, according to the sources, ministers agreed to let to the protocols be discussed by officials, including the possible modes of payments. The talks appear to confirm reports that suggested India has received an offer of discounted crude oil from Russia that has lost major buyers in the past 2 weeks, as the US, European Union and the other countries have slapped sanctions on Russia for its attacks on Ukraine. While European countries have exempted Russian banks involved in energy trade from their sanctions due to a heavy dependence on Russian oil, the US announced a complete ban on the import of all Russian petroleum and petroleum products from March 8. The decision led to a sharp spike in oil prices, crossing $139 per barrel at one point, and the prices remain over $100 per barrel, causing a global scare over inflation. Meanwhile, Russia that has lost the US imports of about 7 lakh barrels of oil per day and could see a reduction over time of European current intake of 4.5 million barrels a day, will be left with unsold stocks if it does not find new buyers. Okay, a decision to purchase more oil from Russia would also have to weigh against the adverse reaction from India's American and European partners who wanted to isolate Russia economically. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar had said the last month that India does not follow unilateral sanctions. However, in 2019, India did bow to the US demands that it zero out all its oil imports from Iran. Okay, this is world events from here. Let's move to the next article. Okay, the word Russian strike hit Western Ukrainian. What is this? Facebook has temporarily eased its policy on violent speech after Moscow invasion of Ukraine, allowing statements like death to Russian invaders, but not credible threats against civilians. The decision sparked concerns. This is clearly a very, very complex issue, but it does raise some concerns under the terms of human rights law. Human Rights Office spokeswoman Elizabeth Throssell told reports. Retire as premier. Okay. China's Li Keqiang says will retire as premier next year. India for talks on biolabs issues. As Russia called for Security Council meeting on its issues of biological laboratories in Ukraine, India, and any matter relating to obligations under the Biological Toxin Weapons Convention should be addressed through consultation and cooperation between the parties concerned. Okay, no direct confrontation. US alleged to end normal trade with Russia. President Joe Biden also announces ban on imports of seafood, vodka, and diamonds. We are confronting the West, not Ukraine. Council Journal. Okay, Iran nuclear talks paused, says Borrell. No Korean may fire missile, put satellite in space. Saudi oil refinery hit by drone attacks. Okay, business conflicts contagion may impact India. Ukraine halts half of the world neon output for chips, clouding outlook. Startups eyeing IPO may face tighter valuation scrutiny. Center to soon, file final papers for LIC offer. Designation in banks causing unmet disruption. Khara. So this concludes of the Hindu newspaper analysis. So thanks for watching.